Hello friends, my name is Ben Hansen, and we've been looking at diagnostic questions for making disciples. Before he ascended into heaven, Jesus told his disciples to go and make more disciples, and to make more disciples of all nations. And we're on number 3 this week. The first question that we can ask ourselves is, are we applying truth? Are we not just speaking or hearing truth, but actually working it into our lives? And the second question is, do we have a Christ-first mentality when we want to respond to something, or in anticipation of something, or just in life in general, are we turning to Christ first? And the third diagnostic question that we can ask ourselves for today is, are we reaching the lost? In order to make disciples of all nations, we need to make disciples of more than just this church nation. I really enjoy seeing young Christians, or maybe older Christians who have been shallow, moving to a place of greater maturity, of changing from a laid-back perspective and a casual approach toward God's mission, maybe even a spectator approach, watching it happen, to being actively engaged, to working with others, to applying the gifts that God has given them. So I really enjoy that. But in order to make disciples of all nations, we need to make disciples of more than just this nation. Tampa Bay area, Pastor Chris was talking the other week in one of our staff meetings, is one of the areas with the least amount of Christian growth as far as conversions and baptisms. And what it seems like is, in this area, a lot of the churches are just changing members. And so you may notice the new people in your group when they came to this church. It was because they came from another church, either as snowbirds, or they didn't like their last church, or they moved, whatever it is. And there's not a whole lot of new Christians joining the church in this area. And that's not just this area, that's in all areas. Even in Jesus' time, he said the harvest is plentiful, but the workers are few. There are many people out there who need to hear the gospel of Jesus, and not just hear it and be transformed, but who need to become a part of this greater thing called the body of Christ, which is on this mission to continue Christ's mission to save the earth, to say it like that. So going back to the diagnostic question, are we reaching the lost? Are we prioritizing time with those who are unsaved, with people of a different nation than our own? And that's more than, we think of missionaries going overseas and ministering to people and translating Bibles into new languages. But there are other nations in this nation. There are other nations in Tampa Bay area. I think of the Jewish nation, the ex-Catholic nation, the Scientology nation, downtown Clearwater, the people who are nominally Christian, who went to church a couple times a year. I consider myself a Christian, but they're not an actual disciple of Christ. And then just the general, ambivalent agnostics that are everywhere in America. These are all different spiritual nations that the church needs to reach out to. We need to do more than just, trade Christians with other churches. So that's the third diagnostic question. And then overall, I just want to remind, as we wrap up, there were only 3 questions. That these are not check boxes like, oh yeah, I do all these. In my family or my church as a whole, or in my small group, do them all, I'm good. Or the opposite, gosh, I do none of these. Maybe I should just quit aspiring to become a disciple maker. But no, these are not, pass, fail, success or failure. These are kind of aspirational. These are good marks for what it means to make disciples. Kind of like achievements. They're not something that we can accomplish on our own. I can't turn somebody into another disciple. That's God's job. But what is my focus? What is our church, and what are our groups, and even our family on a smaller level? How are we trying to fulfill the Great Commission that Jesus called us to? Are we content to just speak and listen, or do we want to get into the work that's involved of applying, of changing our mindset, of going out? These are next steps. And it's something this past summer, our small group challenged ourselves in doing, going out and applying truth and seeking Christ first. And we're starting a new group Sunday afternoons. This is going to be a part of that. Eventually, we want to build a community first, and then unleash that community to fulfill God's commission. But yeah, these are diagnostic questions that I want to encourage you with, not challenge you with, not beat you up with, but hopefully give you some aspirations for the people that are in your care, the people that you are leading. And you can do more than just what you have been doing. And I hope, and I know God has inspired you to do more, and because He's called you to do His will. You guys have a good day, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.